Hey everyone, just checking in with today's daily update. In terms of level creation, I didn't get quite as much done as I would have liked. I spent a lot of time today fixing various bugs and sort of smoothing out the player's controls to make them a lot nicer. So, that took up a lot more time than I thought it would. But after I fixed those bugs, I was sort of, away and ready to go with sort of level creation. So I did manage to get sort of two done, which isn't anything like I would have hoped, but better than nothing. And now that those things are fixed, it's going to be a lot easier to sort of go forward. So things I've done today. First of all, the player controls. You rotate a lot faster now. It's a lot nicer to look at rather than a sort of slow drag round. It's a bit more snappy. You charge up significantly faster. I think like 50 frames faster, something like that. And your maximum speed is just a little bit higher as well, which is great. The main change is probably to strafing. So as you can see here, I'm strafing into a wall and I'm not sort of immediately bouncing off of it. I'm sort of gliding along it, which is much more favourable. I also changed the player's hitbox just a little bit to make it just a bit smaller, so that you can make tighter gaps and things like that. Just again, something that'll really add up in the long sort of play feel of this game, I think. Now there are a few small bugs with strafing. So for example, if I bounce into this wall and then immediately tap in the other direction, I sort of start strafing in that direction very quickly, which again, things like that I don't really want. So you can do things like this where you chain strafe in a straight direction, which again, don't really want. So I'm going to be changing the way strafing works just a little bit, but overall I'm not unhappy with how it is. Now, these things shoot you out a dramatic amount faster. I think that's probably the best change I've made to these since their inception, to be honest. So yeah, happy with that. Now, things I've squashed today, I said there were a lot of bugs. Impaired, the sort of main one, I should say, is one that made every object update essentially twice, other than the player character, which meant that a lot of things like the pucks, the sort of sharp cell objects, etc., were going a lot faster than they should, and things like that. So I've done a lot of tweaking following that as well. Now, these arrow blocks are the sort of next thing that I've sort of created. So you can see there, once I destroyed something that one of them was touching, it didn't look necessarily like they were touching, but I don't really care too much for the visual cue on that. It's something that I think can be sort of picked up on, they're in near proximity, so destroying this will destroy this. Things like that. I've spent a lot of time on these arrow blocks to make them work, as well as I want them to. So I'm very happy with the end result. Basically on spawn, all they do is they calculate the amount of things that they're touching, and then if that number changes downwards at any point, then they destroy themselves, and then that leads to a chain reaction where the next one destroys itself because one of them's destroyed itself, and then yeah, etc., so on, so on. So yeah, very happy with how that goes. It seems to sort of work out pretty much exactly as I had it in my head. So yeah, that's great. Now the puck controls also got a bit of a rework, so it slows down dramatically faster, or slower, sorry. So if I shoot this out, you can see it maintains its speed for a lot longer, but also it doesn't snap to a box that it's essentially spawning in currently, so it doesn't go in there, which is adds up, because a lot of the time I would want to just shoot a puck immediately, and then I'd realise, oh, I can't do that because it would snap back to this box. So I'm much happier with this as it is now. Now these boxes here are connected to a barrier each in like a cross pattern, and they open it up, so you just sort of need to let the enemy out, and then you can get the puck and defeat it. Now in terms of how that looks for the player, I don't know if it's going to be, easily conveyable, so to speak. So I might try and create like just like a wiring system or something like that, so that you can see what things are connected to. Because at the moment, that is actually a small sort of concern, is that a lot of it is just sort of intuition, especially in things like this, where there's no sort of clear link between this box and that box. There's no sort of color change. There's no, anything like that. The box itself isn't colored. There's, there's a lot of things that I sort of want to work on the aesthetic front, but that's definitely on my list. So yeah, that's probably not going to be tomorrow. That's probably going to be one of the last things I do, unfortunately. I think getting the levels sort of created and implemented is my next sort of highest priority. I want to also add barriers to the levels once you've entered them. So for example, one just below where my mouse is, so that you can't sort of retrack or go backwards into a void and then get yourself stuck. Now, in terms of these things, they sort of aren't quite calculating their speed properly. I think when a puck hits them, as I'm sure you saw there, one of the hits didn't really knock it away all that much, so I might look at that tomorrow, see if I can get that working. But overall, it does the job. It sort of makes it recoil and resets the time between its sort of moves, so that's great. I think maybe, actually, just thought right now, maybe I can have an extra one of these hooked up to this middle box, because then when you go to pick this up, you'll notice that this disappears, and that could actually be a small sort of intuitive way to sort of show, these boxes are clearly connected to things. That might be a nice idea. Either way, that's a problem for tomorrow's me. So yeah, tomorrow, unfortunately, I've not got much time at all. So I'm probably literally just going to finish off the last few level designs in my book, and that'll pretty much be it. So in terms of a video, there probably won't be one tomorrow, or I might even add an update just to sort of flick through my book and say, here's all the levels I've made, give you a quick sort of overview of the plan for them. But either way, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Take care.